All right, good morning, folks. Thanks for joining me this Wednesday. Before we begin, make sure you have your set of dumbbells. Other than that, you'll be good to go. Let's get started with the warm-up here. We'll do jumping jacks and begin. Try to keep those arms nice and straight. Arms stay wide. Take some good sized steps. We'll do butt kicks here in just a second. All right, how about some butt kicks? Drive those heels up. We'll do some high knees next here. A couple more butt kicks. All right, how about those high knees? Knees way up. We'll do another round here, starting with those jumping jacks. A couple more seconds. Just keep driving the heels up, or I'm sorry, the knees up. And jumping jacks. And let's do those butt kicks. Heels up, nice and high. A couple more than those high knees. And high knees. A couple more here, and we'll do a little squat overhead reach. And place those feet a little wider than shoulder width. Squat down, reach overhead. Make sure you are squeezing that big butt muscle at the bottom. Feel the glute muscle contract. That's what's causing the lift or the extension of those hips as you stand nice and tall. Pull the abs in. Squeeze the glutes. Reach the arms up nice and high. Try to straighten them. Just straight up overhead, not forward. Straight up. A couple more here. So 2 more. And then a step back overhead reach. Kind of similar. Still opening up shoulders, opening up hips. Keep those arms nice and straight as they flex back. Pull the abs in. Bend the back knee a little more than you think you need to. Just bend that back knee. Pull the abs in as you bend the back knee. Squeeze your glutes as you bend the back knee. Straighten your elbows. Yes, as you bend the back knee. Let's do one more on each side. And we'll just go back to butt kicks. Here we go. Nice and light on those feet. We'll do another round of those in just a second. Again, starting with that little squat overhead reach. A couple more here though. Let's get that heart rate coming up. All right, hold your squat again. Squat down. Up to overhead reach. Try to stay nice and upright too, so you're not falling forward on the squat. That's really going to force the hips to stretch. The more upright you are, sinking into the hips, not falling forward as you sit back into that squat. Sitting back into the squat is what allows you to sink into those hips, stretching all those muscles. But also taking the hip joint through a maximum range of motion for you. Staying upright will help with that. Maximizing just the natural range of motion that your hips have. You want to tap into that. So 2 more here. 1, and then we'll do those step backs with overhead reach. Here we go. Keep those arms nice and straight. Oh, that's a timer. Hold on. I had a timer going, not a stopwatch. Oops. Anyway, keep going. Bring the arms straight up, nice and high. Pull those abs in. Arms stay straight. We will finish with this, and then we're going to get into it. No dumbbells to start. We'll be doing some bridges. Good glute activation, core activation. Let's do 2 more here, 1 on each side. Last one. You got it. So on our backs here, left foot's going to be down as we go into a bridge. I want you to flex your right foot so you see the ankle is flexed. You're going to keep your right leg perpendicular the entire time. Just have your hands at your sides like so, and then bridge up. Bridge up and down, only pushing through that left hip. And I want you primarily focused on the contraction of your glute. So if you put your hand on your butt, yes, you can do that. You can squeeze the glute. I want you to feel that big glute max muscle flex tightly. As that muscle flexes, that's what's causing the lift, the pressing up with the hip. You should feel some stretch to the front of that hip. You should feel some stretch again through the attachments of the hip flexor because you're tucking your tailbone under as you're contracting that left glute, pushing that left glute up. I really want you to tune into the sensation of that muscle tight. Feel the stretch to the front of that left hip, again, because you're tucking your hips under. Now you're pulling your abs way in. You can really feel that stretch to the front of the hip. You can really feel the tightness to the back of the hip. I know I'm holding here a long time. I'm just trying to illustrate a point. Right now you are up and down, obviously. We get 20 seconds yet on this. Now with this right leg, it is straight. Obviously, the tighter you are to the back of this right leg, the harder it's going to be to hold this leg, especially with that ankle flexed. Just do your best. So if your leg looks like this, because those hamstrings, calf muscles, etc., don't like stretching just yet, that's fine. But work towards straightening the knee because you're going to pull up on that kneecap, tightening this quad muscle, which will release this in time. Deadbug. Here we go. Just let that go. By the way, your left glute muscle should be kind of talking to you a little bit, even though it was just 1 minute. You should be feeling some burn, some sensation, some tightness. So just let that go right now. Just hang out here with Deadbug. Try to get that spine as flat as you can. Really focus on your lumbar or the lower back right now. So pull the abs in. Try to settle the back of your hips into the mat. Try to settle your low back into the mat. Just relax. Shoulders back and down. Make sure that neck is nice and long. You feel as much contact to the floor as is possible for you today. Just continue to hold here for about 10 more seconds. And then we're going to do the other side. So my shins should be parallel. I just noticed that they were up a little higher. You do want those shins parallel. Let's go ahead and do the right side now. So right leg is down. The left ankle is flexed. Hands are at your sides. Press up. Hold for just a second or so, and then down. Remember, you are pulling your abs in, and you are scooping your hips under. So you're tucking your tail under as you go through a press here, focusing intensely on the muscle contraction of the right glute as you push up. That's really important. Squeeze that right glute as you push the hips up. Pull the abs in as you squeeze the right glute. Can you coordinate those two muscle actions together? The drawing in of your abs with the contraction of the glute. You should be able to synchronize those things together. If you can't, that's fine. Just continue to try to draw the abs in while focusing on squeezing the glute. It does help to actually make contact with the butt muscle, so you're ensuring that it is squeezed so you can learn what those sensations actually are like. You get direct feedback with the hand touching the glute, so that's fine. It's actually oftentimes where I'll touch or poke someone's shoulder, their hips, or what have you, just so that their brain can sense what it is they should be sensing. It's actually the power of touch. Pushing up and down. Let's do one more here. And then we're going to hold another bear hug. I guess the first bear hug. So give me a little bear hug here. Just release the back of the hips. Starting off just a little more gentle today. That's okay. We got some tough circuits coming up anyway. So pull the knees into the shoulders here as you draw the shoulders down. Now we're not tucking the hips. I want you to try to tilt your hips. So you're trying to arch your low back here. Again, arch is not going to happen because you're drawing the knees into the shoulders. That acts as a counter to you trying to arch the low back. So again, arch the low back as you pull the knees into the shoulders. Make sure the shoulders are down and the crown of that head goes towards the wall behind you. Squeeze the knees together, squeeze the upper inner thighs together, pull the abs in just a little more, maybe even just a little more. You got 5 seconds here. We're going to let it go. Go ahead, let that go. So once again, back on the left side, we're going to hold a full minute this time. So it's probably going to burn a little more. Just do your best as you hold the isometric. So try to get your hips as square as possible. With you just pushing up on that left hip right now, likely means your right hip is sagging down. See that a lot. So if you were to look at your hips, you want to make sure that they are equidistant from the floor, or both right and left hip are level with the floor as you press up. Make sure that that right ankle is flexed right now and your right leg is as straight as possible. Making sure that that right quadricep is nice and tight will help to release tension through the back of the leg. Yes, I know that's making the exercise technically harder by putting more tension in the front of the leg, but the idea is to release the back of the leg. So do put tension here in that right quadricep right now. Don't forget about your left glute as you push up a little higher as you pull the abs in. We got 10 seconds here. So for the last 10, I want you to squeeze your left glute as hard as you can right now. Squeeze as hard as you can and then pull your abs in a little more. Squeeze your glute a little harder, pull your abs in a little more, and let that go. Give a dead bug. Okay. That should feel like a nice reprieve right now. Just hang out here. Nice flat neck. Flat mid-low back. Flat mid-upper back. Neck flat. Shoulders back and down. Arms straight. Let's get those shins. I just caught myself again. Get those in that parallel position the best that you can. Make sure the legs are in their lanes. Pull the abs in. Really draw the abs in. I want you to feel the back of the hips make contact with the floor. I want you to feel your low back make contact with the floor. Draw your abs in the entire time. Just keep pulling them in. Even through your breathing. Just keep the abs drawn in. Shoulders back and down. Head, neck long. Just hang out here. Even a dead bug, it's not completely passive. You're not sleeping. Muscles are acting. They are on, even just to hold something as mild as this. Let's go ahead and do the other side. So put the right side down, left leg up, perpendicular here with the floor as you flex that left ankle. Trying to release tension through the back of the left leg, trying to build tension through the front of the left leg. Now on the right side, squeeze the right glute. Super squeeze it. Tuck your hips under as you squeeze that right glute. Make sure your hips are level as you squeeze the right glute. Seriously, squeeze the right glute. As tight as you can. Everything you got. Contract that butt muscle. Yes, there's no movement. I get it here. But the muscle still has to fire to obviously hold your joints in this position. So take advantage of that. And it's the glute muscle that's supporting you in this position. So strengthen that butt muscle by squeezing it a little harder. Squeeze it a little harder for me. Pull the abs in as you tuck the hips under. Squeeze the right glute. Everything you got. You got 10 seconds here. I know you can squeeze that glute a little harder for the last 10 seconds. Keep squeezing the glute. Don't stop squeezing the glute. Everything you got on that glute, and then let it go. Now draw your knees in to those shoulders. Again, I'm showing you a full bear variation here. If you want to do it as such, this is fine as well from the side. You know, what's important is that the shoulders stay out of the ears, and you're still trying to tilt your pelvis, so arching the low back. But again, it's not going to happen because you're pulling the knees into the shoulders, which counters naturally the arch. But again, you're trying to cause that arch is because we're trying to stretch the low back. So just think about arching the low back, pull the knees into the shoulders. You should be equally intense on both of those cues in terms of how hard you're pulling, how hard you're trying to arch your low back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Pull the abs in a little more. Maybe you can pull the knees in a little bit more without shifting through the hips. Try doing that. Just a little more here at the end. Even just a little more here. You got about 5 seconds. We'll be on our feet. Go ahead, let that go. Grab your dumbbells here real quick. We're just going to jump into some sumo squats. I'm sorry, just regular squats, but hands at shoulders. So with your dumbbells and hands at the shoulders, let's just dive right into it here. So I'm not quite a sumo squat, but my feet are a little wider than hip width, which is kind of where I want you. And then just sitting back, sinking into those hips as I was describing in the warm-up, feeling like you are really just sinking into the hips as you squat and sink back or sit back. Try to stay nice and upright. As I was saying, sitting upright will help you stretching through those hip muscles, particularly the low back. You will contract the low back as you fall forward. You will stretch the low back a little subtly, a little more as you sit upright into that squat instead of falling forward. So just sit nice and tall, arms up, wrists straight. Just keep moving here. Kind of at your own pace. I don't want you to go too slow. Don't have to go too fast. But feel the muscles contract, feel them lengthen. What are the sensations happening in the front of the hips? What are the sensations in the back of the hips? Try to tune into that. Feel your butt muscle flex at the bottom. Just stand up. Good. Stand nice and tall here. Just a little abduction. Just shifting to the shoulders. Just doing the 2 exercises here in this block. So fairly straightforward. Little abduction. And then some squats. But this is abduction of the shoulders. Now really focus on your wrists right now. So it's a pretty straightforward movement with abduction. It's only just one joint moving. This one, the shoulder. So you're going to keep your arms nice and wide as they flex up. They're not coming forward. It's really, really important. Make sure the low back is not arching. You got about 25 seconds or so. So as we get to about this T position, general things that happen, low back likes to start to arch as the arms continue to come up, as well as the arms coming forward, head and neck coming forward. Probably know what I'm going to say at this point. Don't let that happen. So pull the abs in, squeeze the glutes. Really important. That's your anchor for your low body. You can even see that on me. As I pull this in here, as I squeeze my glutes, I'm just kind of locked. And then from there, keeping those glutes squeezed and abs drawing in, I'm just flaring those arms as far back as I can, with the elbows staying nice and straight, wrists staying straight as well. Let's go back into those sumo squats, or those squats. Feet just a little wider than hip width, and sit back, up and down. Here we go. Just keep moving. You should get about 20 or so. It gives you a sense in terms of speed, maybe about 3 seconds or so per squat. So good number of squats in a minute. We'll get the legs talking to you a little bit. Again, get to the bottom, squeeze the butt. If for whatever reason you're at the bottom of the squat and you're like, I'm not really feeling my glutes, you've probably gone too low. So that mind-muscle connection, it really is something. I know sometimes that sounds a little voodoo, a little hippy-dippy, but it is something. I mean, your nervous system innervates the muscles, which cause muscles to contract. And you can tune into that. You can feel those sensations. I know you can. So just try to be as tactile as you can with your own body as you're exercising. It's always good. Learn about yourself a little more that way. So 2 more here. Last one, sit upright. And then abduction, stand nice and tall. Here we go. Abduct up. Keep your elbows nice and straight here. Really focus on wrists staying straight as well. So when you're in this finished position, if you were to look in the side profile, are your arms, do they look like a continuation of your spine? Are you squeezing your upper inner thighs together? Are you squeezing your glutes? Are you pulling your abs in? Are your elbows and wrists straight? Is your head back? What about your low back? Is that arching? I don't have to arch it. So tuck the hips under. Tight. Really, really tight. Tight to your entire kinetic chain. That's where actually all these cues, when we do these standing posture exercises, we'll do several more today yet. These cueings is to cause tension through the kinetic chain so that we isolate in on a particular joint. In this case, we're isolating in on this particular joint. We don't have movement elsewhere, which means we're getting all of the movement through our targeted muscle groups, which in this case would be head, neck, and shoulders. So take advantage of that. Don't move your body so we can isolate in on that shoulder joint. Let's do one more here. You got it. Okay, set your dumbbells down. We're going to be doing a crescent lunge hold, a little shoulder flexion. This will be a little more challenging of a series. We'll just do our best as we do. Keep your back leg nice and straight here. We are going into shoulder flexion. Keep your arms straight, wrists straight, hands straight as you flex up, pulling abs in, and then back down. So you are going to hold this isometric position with the legs for the full minute. And then we're simply moving our arms into shoulder flexion as we draw the abs in. Get your arms as high as you can. I'm going to show you from the side here. In a perfect world, you would end up in a straight line, so your hips are square, toes are square, legs are square, and you would end in a perfect line from your heel, through your spine, through your shoulders, through your arms, into your fingertips. You have a nice straight line. So try to work towards that. It's going to force full flexion of that spine, of the shoulder joint. Pull the abs in. Really creating a lot of length through the body on this one. I know the arms are not going to want to straighten at all, because I can feel mine don't want to straighten about past here. I feel a lot of resistance. You need to work past that. Work past it. It's hard. I mean, I feel a lot of resistance. I don't move fairly gracefully through here. There's a lot of tension. There should be a lot of tension with you as well. Let's do one more. Very nice. Come out of that and, oh great, we've got an active corpse pose. So go ahead, lie on your back here. Active. So we're not resting passively here. I want you as tall as you possibly can. So make sure your feet are flexed and you're reaching your heels towards that wall. We are trying to lengthen through the back of the leg right now. So pull up on your kneecaps to tighten those quadricep muscles as you squeeze your upper inner thighs together. Draw the abs way in and maybe tuck the hips under just slightly so you can feel that low back settle. Don't forget about flexing your feet because you're still reaching them this way. We're trying to get the back of the leg as flat to the floor as possible without the legs flopping open or excessively internally rotating. It's probably not you, but most people tend to externally rotate. So just keep the feet nice and square. Neutral now through the entire low body. Abs in. Head, neck, shoulders back. Take the fingers, reach them towards that wall. Crown of head towards the wall behind you. Slight tuck of the chin. Keep reaching your heels. Keep reaching your hands. Reaching your hands stretches through the traps and that cervical spine. Take those fingers and reach. And then do the opposite with the head. Reach. You are using traction to stand as tall, or to lie, I should say, as tall or as lengthened as you can be. And we'll come out of this. We're going to do the other side. Nicely done. So let's have our right foot forward now. And then left foot forward now. We had the right foot forward before, and then flexing the arms up nice and straight. If I have this backwards for whatever reason, just do the opposite side. I don't think I do. I think I did right side first, since that's what my notes say. Keep the arms up. Pull the abs in. Squeeze your glutes together, both of them. Squeeze your upper inner thighs together. I know this left leg is forward right now, and it makes it kind of hard to feel the adductor muscles, those inner thigh muscles engage, but I want you to try to squeeze them even though you've got flexion and extension happening through the hip right now. So squeeze those glutes, squeeze the upper inner thighs, flex the arms forward. As the arms come up, you need to pull your abs in. I know that's really hard to do. As your arms come up, your knee is going to bend. It's almost guaranteed. I need you to straighten the knee as your arms flex up. Yes, it's a tough minute, and you got 20 seconds yet. You're fine. Just get through it here. Your front left leg, glute should be on fire. The back of your arms and shoulders should be talking to you. Try to keep that head up. Don't let that head come forward. Squeeze your glutes. Pull your abs in. One more here. Last one. All right. Standing at attention. So stand nice and tall here. Just like the lying active corpse pose. Same thing, same cues, but now you're just standing against gravity instead of the advantage of gravity pushing into you. So you're going to have to use your muscles to resist that gravity. Weight back on the heels, push down on your toes. Squeeze your inner thighs, pull up on the kneecaps to tighten those quadricep muscles. Squeeze your butt. Seriously, squeeze your butt. Pull your abs in, and then squeeze your butt again. And pull your abs in. Working up the chain, shoulders back and down. So feel your shoulder blades squeeze back. As you squeeze your shoulders back, pull your abs in. You just noticed the lift, and you probably even felt a little stretch through here because you pulled your shoulders back, because you pulled your abs in. Now squeeze your glutes. Do all three of those. Squeeze your glutes, abs in, shoulders back. Can you coordinate all three of those with intensity? Work towards that. Now reach your hands towards that floor and the crown of the head towards that ceiling. Don't lose the glutes, don't lose the abs, don't lose the shoulders. Take the hands, reach them towards the floor, head up towards the ceiling. You are tall. Your knees are straight. If the knees are locked, they are at least supported by the muscles. So you don't feel like you're not loose around the knee. You are solid, you are tight. Stand tall here, we're almost done. And then let's do it again. Bring the right foot forward. Hold that crescent lunge for me. Pushing through the toe of the back left foot. Flex your arms up. And then flex your arms back down. You got it. Here we go. Arms coming way up. And then down. Pull those abs in as the arms flex up. Really pull the abs in as the arms flex up. Squeeze on the glutes a little more as the arms flex up. Especially that right glute. I know it's really hard to get that right glute to fire right now. It probably feels like I can't even feel it squeeze because of how much stretching it's happening in this position on the right leg. Even so, still try to engage that right glute. Now, I'm on full range of motion on this. By the way, if you need to be more here, right, something more like this, that's totally fine, okay? You're just simply lengthening the levers at the hips by extending the leg back, but it also is going to force more length and more muscle contraction through the upper back and shoulders by lowering yourself further to the floor. Essentially what I'm saying is this is a lot harder than this. So choose your vice. Choose a difficulty that allows you to maximize decent form with high intensity. Pull the abs in, squeeze your glutes. Make sure the head's not coming forward. It's a subtlety, but the head has an effect on the shoulders, the neck, etc. Pull the abs in. You got 10 seconds here. Push down on your back big toe, really, really hard. Wherever you are, push down really hard on the back toe. Straighten the back knee a little more. Good, go ahead, come out of that. You can be an active corpse pose. So on our back here. Flatten yourself to that floor. Make sure your feet Starting at that ankle joint, feet are flexed, neutral position through the legs, palms facing up. Pull up on the kneecaps to tighten those thigh muscles. Pull the abs in, tuck the hips under slightly. Really pull the abs in. Squeeze the shoulder blades back and down. Reach the hands towards the wall away from you. Crown of the head towards the wall behind you. Slight tuck of the chin. Just hang out here. Eventually your arms, they will just settle right to your sides. You'll feel very narrow. That's what we want. We don't want you feeling like you're this. And a lot of people at rest are kind of like this because their shoulders and hips are so tight. That's actually really hard for them to move into midline. So we're working on that right now. It doesn't seem like much, but even just relatively basic postures can be a challenge. So it's good to just work on even simple things like this. Got 10 seconds here. And let's go ahead and hop on our feet. We'll do the left side right now. So left foot forward, back leg nice and straight. Super straight back leg, and then shoulder flexion here. Again, trying to lengthen your kinetic chain as much as possible. So think of yourself as the arms flex up. Think of it as you are being pulled in two different directions. Imagine someone on your heel pulling you. So pulling your heel away, and then you're reaching your arms in the opposite direction. But someone's got your ankle, pulling on it, cranking on it. And then with all those anchors at the knee, the abs, the glutes on, you're able to cause that lengthening through the entire kinetic chain. But more than that too, there's a lot of muscle contraction, a lot of concentric muscle contraction, which will contribute to your strength. It's not just stretching, it's not just lengthening, but you're also strengthening quite a bit through the kinetic chain as you do this exercise. And for as hard as this is, for your sake, I hope you are getting stronger because this is difficult stuff. Pull the abs in, squeeze the glutes. Keep your arms nice and straight. Keep the elbows straight. You got 10 seconds here. Just keep pulling the arms up as high as you can. You know, they don't want to stretch all the way up. The muscles at the shoulders, rotator cuff, they don't want to contract to here, but they can. They will. Let's do one more. You got it. Nice job. Stand tall. Kind of standing at attention. So feet can be hip width apart, toes facing forward. Weight evenly distributed through the foot. You do feel the arch in the foot. So if you need to push down your big toe, please do so. Make sure the knees are straight. Pull the abs in. Maybe a slight tuck under with the hips as you pull the abs in. Squeeze your glutes with that slight tuck under with the hips with the abs drawn in. Shoulder blades back and down. Head and neck back. Head and neck nice and tall, lengthened. You are long. Reach the hands towards the floor actively. As you reach the hands actively towards the floor, you don't want the head pull forward because you can feel that. When you reach your arms down, you can sense that the head wants to come forward. That are those tight trap muscles that run along the flanks of the neck and the back of the neck. If they don't stretch, they cause the head to collapse forward. But that's not you because your head's neck nice and lengthened, head and neck back, crown of that head reaching towards the ceiling as those hands reach towards the floor. You got just 10 seconds here. Pull the abs in a little more. Why don't you squeeze your glutes a little more for me? Just a little more here for the last couple seconds. You got it. And why don't we grab a quick drink of water here. We're going to be sitting on our butts for a little L-sit action. So we're going to do some dumbbell shoulder presses, but in the L-sit. I really do like this exercise. I do say that often. I like the L-sit position in general. This is the L-sit. Grab your dumbbells. But then when we add a little shoulder press, it just does a really nice job of causing length through that kinetic chain. Kind of like the last exercise we were actually doing, that Crescent lunge with the shoulder flexion. It's actually, its mechanics are a little different, but the muscle actions are actually fairly similar between this, what we're doing right now, and what you were just doing. So more good stuff for you, more fun stuff. Anyway, as we're here right now, make sure your feet are flexed. Obviously, you have dumbbells in your hands. You're squeezing those upper inner thighs. You're sitting forward on your sit bones and really pulling your abs in. Really pull your abs in. Try to sit as tall as you can so we're not falling back. Now, obviously, my legs are straight here. If that's not you, because you look like this with your legs straight, please bend your knees so you can sit more forward. As your hips and low back release tension, this will happen. It's kind of crazy, but just look out forward. Look for that. Just look forward to that even. So, but if you're not there yet today, bend the knees a little bit, pull the abs in, flare those arms nice and wide on the shoulder press. Now make sure your feet are not turning open. That oftentimes is the cause of a tight hip flexor, particularly the psoas muscle. It'll cause the femurs to externally rotate, causing the feet to turn open. You got 10 seconds here. So if that's you, just try to correct forward by squeezing the upper inner thighs and sitting forward. It'll actually force a stretch through that psoas muscle that can get quite tight. Anyway, we're going to roll back into a T rotation. So I'm going to turn towards you. Keep the dumbbells in hand. If your 3-pound dumbbells are too much, you can obviously dump them. But I'm going to show you here. Elbows are at shoulder height, and I'm simply externally rotating the shoulder joint open. Imagine I had dumbbells in my hand, so holding on to those dumbbells with wrists nice and straight. As I do the external rotation, so this is external rotation of the shoulder, as I open my shoulder joint, I'm making sure not to drop the elbow. I'm also making sure not to fall backwards. So if you're still here with those bent knees, that's fine. Those bent knees allow you to sit more forward. That's what we would rather have. I want you an upright spine, vertical spine, like you would have a wall behind you or a board behind you. Your back would sit nice and flush, nice and flush to that. And then as we pull the arms open here, keep the elbows up, not letting them fall. Also the head, neck, they're going to want to come forward. Shoulders are going to want to shrug on this one. I need you to keep your shoulders down as we move through a range of motion. You got 10 seconds here. Just keep moving. Sit forward, sit tall. I'm going to straighten my legs, but do whatever you need to do. You should feel quite a bit of burn to the shoulder joint right now. Yes, we want that. And go ahead and let that go. Go ahead and lie flat on your back with your legs perpendicular. So same mechanics, but now we're doing shoulder flexion. We're just kind of taking our shoulder joint gently through some ranges of motion through this series. Interesting thing about this series in particular, the tighter the posterior chain, so the tighter the backside of your body is, the more difficult this series that we're doing right now in particular will be. The more mobile you are through the back of your body, the more gentle, honestly, this series will feel. It'll feel actually just kind of more passive, like a stretch. If that's not where you're at today, that's fine, something to look forward to. If this feels more like a never-ending battle where minutes just last forever, likely means that the muscles in the backside of your body just need to release, they need to lengthen, and that'll happen in time. And good news is that this will become almost passive. Anyway, we'll finish here in about 10 seconds, and we'll go through the series again, starting with those L-sit shoulder presses. Keep your shoulders nice and down. Make sure the back is staying flat to the floor. Head and neck long. Let's do one more good rep here. Don't bend your elbows, don't bend your wrists. Good. Sit nice and tall for me. We'll take it to the shoulder press. Once again, I'll show you from the side profile here. Flex the feet. Again, sitting forward on those sit bones, drawing those abs way in. Arms, think of them as like a continuation of your spine as you go through the shoulder press. So again, arms are coming forward. This wouldn't be a continuation of my spine if my spine is nice and vertical. Obviously, the arms would want to continue to extend vertical to do the continuation of the spine. So just think about that as you press the arms up, straight up. They're not coming forward. If your arms come forward, it likely means your back is rounding. Just a sign to look out for. We don't want that. Actually, so much of mobility through our arms, head, neck, shoulders, and even into the hips is affected by your thoracic spine. And what we're doing right now is trying to mobilize your thoracic spine through a shoulder press. So I need you to sit as tall as you can to force that mobilization, which will improve overall movement quality, making these perhaps irritating exercises today not irritating in the future. And I think that would be a good thing. So let's sit forward here, sit nice and tall, flex the feet, and draw the abs in. You got those T rotations. And if you feel anything in the low back, it's not the end of the world. Oftentimes people do complain of the low back, just holding an L-sit for an extended period of time. And again, it's because your hips likely are so tight, they don't even like to sit in this position. It's like a rebelling. Your body is like rebelling against you to sit really what should be just a normal seated position. So it's okay if it's you, but again, if the low back is bugging you, bending the knees does help with that because muscles aren't being pulled on as intensely when you bend the knees, particularly through the low back. So again, bending the knees will help with that. But again, the goal is to get you to straighten those legs as you sit forward. Don't take it to pain, please. Don't take any exercise to pain, whether it's a stretch or whether it's even just like a push-up or, a squat, muscle contracting. It shouldn't be painful. It should feel good. Well, good is relative. It should feel like, exercise, effective, like you're doing something with your muscles. Let's do one more here. And then go ahead and lie back here. Give me those shoulder flexions. Keep the arms nice and straight. The goal is to keep the legs straight too. Keep your feet flexed, legs in their lanes, arms go back, just straight back. So your arms are not going wide. They're not going to a wide position. Tuck that chin slightly. I even felt my neck kind of creep off the floor there. So flatten that out as the arms go back. Now, as your arms go back, make sure you are squeezing your shoulder blades back and down along the flanks of the spine so the shoulders are not shrugging up. And you're keeping the elbows straight. I know it's a little thing, I don't hammer on it all the time, but I want you to stretch the arm as you strengthen through the shoulder blades. And you do that when you keep the arm straight and you keep the shoulders back and down. Pulling the shoulders back and down contracts those muscles, strengthening those muscles. Forcing the arms straight straightens those muscles, stretches those muscles, particularly the bicep muscle. Keep going here as you pull the abs in. Wrist straight, flex those feet. I know you might feel a lot of tension in the back of the legs. It's fine, you're fine, you'll get through it. Just keep squeezing those quadricep muscles right here. Squeeze those inner thigh muscles. If that's what you need to do right now to hold these legs nice and perpendicular, just do your best. Get 10 seconds here. And let's do one more. You got it. Keep the dumbbells in your hands. Let's jump to our feet. We got some alternating forward lunges here. Hands at sides with those dumbbells. And let's just jump right on into it. So again, an alternating forward lunge. Make sure you are bending your knee with this. We are decelerating our momentum with these forward lunges. So try to resist continuing moving forward once that front foot makes contact with the floor. Think of yourself as just putting on the brakes and then just dropping straight down. So from the side here, I'm going to exaggerate this a little bit. As I step forward, I'm canceling that forward momentum, and then I'm sinking straight down, stretching through the back of this front leg hip. Get to the bottom position, you squeeze that right glute. Try to push through the heel, so you can even see my toes are off the floor here as I push back. Just something to work for. Anyway, alternate your sides here. Stay nice and upright, pushing through the heel of that front foot, not falling forward. Not the end of the world if you are pushing through the toe of the front foot, but just try to get more of it through the heel. That's really going to force that glute max to just contract. It's an eccentric muscle contraction, so the glute is stretched, but then pushing through the heel forces contraction of a stretched muscle. It's very effective at strengthening a muscle, doing it that way. So push through the heel to effectively strengthen your glute of that front leg. You got 5 seconds here. And then we got a little balance. That's good. Start with your left leg down, bring your right leg up. Just have your hands at your sides here. Just a standing balance on one leg, nothing too fancy here. We do want to have good balance skills just as general. So as you're standing here, obviously the left foot is down right now. I want you to feel the arch in that left foot. Make sure your hips are square. So yes, you do have your dumbbells in your hands, but you should have some sort of sense of how square the hips are. So as you're holding right now your right leg up, with your hips in a level position, you're actively pulling your right knee up. That's really going to force those hip flexor muscles to contract. Now, as you pull that right knee up, make sure that that right hip does not come up as well. We want to force the length, or we want to force maintaining length through the hips, through your hip flexors. So it requires your hips to stay square. It requires your right hip to stay down. If your right hip comes up, you're just compressing muscles. So keep the hips down, and then pull the right hip up. Go ahead and let that go. Let's do some forward lunges. Alternate sides. So again, dumbbells are already in your hands, so we are good to go. We'll do the other side here after a set of lunges. Just move those legs out a little bit, pushing through the heel of that front foot. You got it. Stay nice and tall. When you were balancing though, I didn't really mention it, but really focus on straightening the standing leg. You want that standing knee as straight as you can. I know that knee likes to bend a little bit. I know it even feels straight. Continue to try to straighten the leg to release a little more of that hamstring tension. Hamstrings likely limiting the lengthening of that standing leg subtly. Maybe even so subtle that you can't feel it. But just keep trying to make sure that that knee stays nice and straight. That will affect the hips, the position of the knee. But again, with that straight leg, you do feel supported at that knee joint. Really, really important. And let's do one more here. You got it. Now stand on the right side, bring that left leg up. So while on the right leg here, real important, like I was saying, that knee is staying nice and straight. With your straight knee, I do want you to feel the arch in that right foot right now. So your weight back on the heel, push down on your big toe. Get your weight back on your heel so it's easier to straighten the right knee. When your weight is forward on your toe, you're going to notice your knee doesn't like to straighten as much. So get your weight back so you can straighten the knee. Now pull up on that quadricep muscle to further release those lateral hamstring muscles and behind the leg muscles. Make sure your hips are square so the left hip's not canting up. Your left hip is down, but you're pulling your left knee up. As you pull your left knee up and you push your left hip down, your right knee likely bent. So straighten the right knee again. Straighten the right knee as you pull your abs in. Squeeze your glutes together. How about your big toe on that right side? Are you pushing that down? Push down on the right toe. How about your right knee? It's probably bending again. Straighten the right knee. Lift your left knee up a little higher. Who could have thought balance could be so difficult? Do your best. Hang out here. You got 5 seconds. And you got it. Let's do that again real quick. We'll do some forward lunges. Just alternate your sides. We'll get to this block one more quick time. And then move forward. Just nice and tall. Again, so you're still trying to push through the heel. Even though we are stepping forward and your weight wants to shift to that toe, push through the heel. Straight up, straight down. So trying to bend that front knee. So again, we're not straightening. And if your back knee doesn't bend, your weight's going to shift forward. I can show you that here from the side profile. So if I step forward and I don't bend the back knee, I have to lunge forward. This just emphasizes the quadricep muscle. Not the end of the world, but again, we're trying to emphasize more of the glute and the hamstring. My hamstring is actually soft in this position because of how overloaded I am through the quad. So by bending the back knee, sitting back, that actually causes the hamstring to become taut, the glute to become a lot more taut. Quad's still on, but it's not overly stressed. I'm just transferring more of the load to the back of the leg. And that's what we want to work on right now. So again, pushing through the heel of the front foot. Try to decelerate your momentum from continuing to slide forward or to fall forward. Is it more work? Yes. Will it make your muscles stronger though? Yes. So work towards that. Pull the abs in. 5 seconds. And that's good. Start with your left side down again. Now bring the right one up. So again, weight back on that left heel. Push down hard on your left toe. Hands at your sides, but if they were on your hips would be level. Your right knee is at the same height as the right hip. Your right hip is at the same height as your left hip. Try to keep your legs forward in their lanes. That includes even toe of the right foot. So it's not doing that. It's not turning open. Again, this will affect this, which will affect this, all the way up the chain. So square the hips. Straighten your left knee. Push down on your left toe. Pull the abs in, squeeze your glutes, pull up on the right knee. As you pull up on that right knee, push down on the right hip, squeeze your upper and thighs together, squeeze them. Your muscles should be burning right now. No, we're not moving. They should be talking to you. Go ahead, let that go. Let's do some lunges. Here we go, alternate your sides. My legs are feeling actually kind of loosey-goosey right now. Hopefully yours are too. I think that's a good thing. Doing a lot of isometrics today, so there are a number of holding exercises. It tends to do that. When you let go of lots of long holds, the muscles tend to feel kind of gummy afterwards. It's kind of how mine are feeling. Hopefully yours too. We're just gonna go 15 more seconds here, sake of time. We will get a full minute of balance in though, because I do think that's real important. Let's go 5 more seconds here. Let's do one more. And then standing on that right leg right now, bring that left one up. Straightening your right knee. But if you're gonna lock the knee, it's because you feel supported by your muscles. You feel your quadricep muscles, you feel your hamstring muscles support that knee joint. I don't want you to feel loose at the knee. So strong at the knee. Push down really hard on that right big toe right now. Push your left hip down as you pull that left knee up. Pull the abs in, squeeze your upper inner thighs together. See if you can make your upper inner thighs burn. Can you make the back of the leg burn? Squeeze the glutes. If you squeeze your upper and thighs together and you keep pushing the knee back and pulling up on that right quadricep muscle, you'll get the back of your leg to burn. I want that. I want that a lot. Mine's burning a lot. Hopefully yours is burning a lot. Squeeze your upper and thighs together. Push down hard on your big toe. Tuck your hips under, but don't let the knee come forward as you tuck your hips under. Tuck your hips under gets your glutes to squeeze. I want that. Tuck your hips under to squeeze your glutes. Now push back on that knee. Pull up on that left knee. Push down on your left hip. Go ahead, let that go. Nice and down. We got airplane. Set your dumbbells down. We're gonna get right into it. I'm gonna show you a face on here. We're going up and down an airplane. We don't have to hold for a minute. Yikes, that would be something. But here we go. Keep your legs together. Up for a couple seconds. Back down. When you do your airplane, keep your arms into the T position. So here, not here. And then back down. So 90 degrees at that shoulder joint. The goal would be to get the arms to about the plane of the head. If you're not there yet, that's fine. But that would be the ultimate goal. Yeah, technically you could get quite a bit higher up yet. But something I'd like you to work towards would be the feet. Notice the feet. They're at about the height of my head. And same with my arms. So work towards that. Will that require a lot of strengthening and lengthening yet? Likely so, yes. But these are all good pursuits. So work towards it. Work towards improving your airplane. It is strengthening the posterior chain, the go muscles. It is lengthening the anterior chain, the show muscles. So the front of your body is stretched. The back of your body is contracted. And your whole body is benefited. And it's really hard. So just get through it here. You got 10 seconds. And then we got a forearm plank. It's nice and high. Last one here. You got it. And then give me a forearm plank. So you can go from your knees. Obviously I'm on my knees. Or you can go from your toes. Choose what works for you. Make sure your shoulders are over your elbows though. And again, we are doing this from the forearms. So it's actually a little harder than from your palms. Your shoulder has more support when you're from your palms because you're using more of your arm muscle than if you're from your forearms. So that's okay though. We're just doing a little harder variation of a plank. But even so, you want to make sure that the body is in a nice planked position. If I show you from the side here, your hips are not piking. Your back is not arching. Your hips are not sagging. You're neutral. You're neutral, which tells me all the muscles that support your spine are on. They're engaged. All the muscle length relationships that run the spine are on, engaged, and correctly positioned. So position your body correctly to do those things. Pull the abs in, squeeze your glutes. Keep holding. You got about 10 seconds. Should feel like kind of a longish minute after coming from that airplane. But I think you're okay. And we got more isometrics. Hold the bridge. So we're going to do 2 legs. A little nicer for you. But I just want you to hold the bridge position. So when you hold your bridge position, make sure your feet are forward in their lane. Sometimes I'll ask you to have your feet turned out. But right now, I want everything forward. So toes forward, knees forward, hips are up. Pull your abs in as you tuck your hips under. That's fine. Tuck those hips under as you pull the abs in, and then hold the hips up. Squeeze your glutes together actively. It doesn't require a tremendous amount of muscle contraction to hold a bridge position. I acknowledge that. However, you can still apply a tremendous amount of muscle contraction to hold a bridge position. Hence the cue, overflex. Overflex your butt. Yeah, it might require 20 pounds of strength to hold your hips here, but why not squeeze your glutes like it's 100 pounds? I mean, what makes muscles stronger are contracting muscles. That's it. Just contracting muscles will literally cause your muscles to get stronger. So take advantage of that right now. Overflex them. Squeeze those glutes a little harder. Pull the abs in a little more. And then let that go for rabbit. Rabbit should feel real nice after the last couple minutes. So you can do rabbit a couple different ways. I will show you full form here first. I grab my ankles or my heels, butt down, and then I try to drive my forehead to the knee and then push the butt up, lengthening through the entire posterior side. If that is not you, if that's not where you're at with it, if your knees don't like it, just simply sit tall. You're right here, right so, hands behind the hips. You're trying to tuck your tailbone under, so pushing on the back of the hip, tucking the tail under, pulling the abs in, and then just rounding through the entire spine, letting the head fall. Don't crank on your neck, please. Just let the head fall. Let your shoulders kind of roll forward. but not up towards the ears. Just let them fall down as you work towards improving flexion of the spine. Now keep your heels together regardless of where you are. You'll notice my heels are together here, but you'll also notice my heels are together as well here. So wherever you are, fine, keep the heels together. Keep the inner thighs together. Keep the legs together. And then squeeze those muscles, those inner thighs, the legs. Pull the abs in. Tuck the tail under. Really tuck the tailbone under. Pull the abs in. We're going to go about 15 more seconds here. Just keep releasing the posterior chain. That's what rabbit is all about. Releasing the back side of the body with flexion of the spine. Good stuff. Go ahead, come out of that. Let's do that airplane again. So again, I'll show you a face on here. Up and down, and again. Try to get to about that head height, and then back down. Yeah, I know your body doesn't want to lift. It's late in the hour, and we're getting tired. You're fine. Keep going up. Push yourself just a little harder. Get up and down. Keep your feet together. So again, you'll notice when you get those legs up, they want to do that. The heels want to separate. You got to keep the heels together as you do the lift. Is it harder? Yeah. Of course it is. Keep the heels together. Keep the arms nice and high and wide. Don't go back with the arms. Go high and wide with the arms. Get them up. Up and down. You got 15 seconds. Up. Last one. Up. Good. Hold the plank for me. Forearm is great. You can certainly drop to your knees, but if you're on your toes, that's cool too. Let's get a whole minute in. All right, I'm not going to say much this minute. Let's just struggle through this mentally together then. And here we go. Thirty seconds. Pull your abs in, squeeze your glutes. Fifteen seconds. Squeeze your glutes, pull your abs in more. Last 5. Pull your abs in, squeeze your glutes. You got it. Bridge hold. Here we go. Let that go. A little isometric for the posterior side. Squeeze your glutes. Getting feet forward or not wide. Toes aren't turning out. Just nice and forward in their lanes. Tuck your hips under. Pull your abs in. Squeeze your glutes. Just squeeze your glutes. Overflex them. Tight butt muscle. Strong butt muscle. You are in hip extension right now. The butt muscle is the primary mover for hip extension. So, squeeze glutes. You are working that primary extender right now of the hip, the butt muscle. Squeeze the butt muscle, overflex it. Squeeze glutes, pull your abs in. You get 10 seconds here. And then we got one more rabbit. Squeeze glutes. Squeeze your glutes. Rabbits. Okay, jump into the variation that works for you since I've already kind of cued how to do this. So find yourself in your rabbit, whatever range of motion is fine. Keep your ankles together, get your knees together. Round forward, release that spine. Wherever you are is fine. See if you can sense what part of your spine feels tightest. If it all feels tight, that's fine. When I do this, the back of my right hip feels tight. So that's kind of what I work through. And everyone kind of has different areas in their body. Let's see if you can start to sense what feels maybe the most resistance in terms of releasing tension through the spine. Keep pulling here. We're going to go about 20 more seconds here. I'm kind of rocking back and forth through my hips just because my right hip is a little tight today. But you can certainly hold a static position if that works for you. All right, good. Go ahead, come out of that. We're going to do a lateral supine stretch. So this will be a nice finish here for the hour today. I want you on your back here. Take your left hand to your right knee and then cross your right knee laterally to the left side of your body. And then take your right arm and reach that away in the opposite direction of the right leg. So we are creating transverse rotation through the spine on this. So your spine is acting like as a corkscrew, really from the base of the spine all the way through the head and even the neck, because I'm going to turn my head, and you certainly can as well. Again, a little transverse rotation. We don't do a ton of this, but this is certainly good. We're stretching a lot of those transverse rotators of the spine. Let's go ahead and do the other side. So straighten your right leg right now. You can have a bent left knee, that's fine. You're going to bring your left knee just directly laterally across, causing that transverse rotation through the spine. Take your left arm and reach that. And then you can rotate your head and getting a complete transverse rotation through the entire spine. All good stuff. You're twisting your spine counterclockwise right now, or at least you should be. Pull the abs in a little bit. Again, don't take this to pain. You should feel some release to the back of the hip. You should feel some release to the front of that left shoulder. It's kind of where areas of stretching primarily. We'll come out of that. We've got a child's pose. We're going to separate our knees, though, and you're really going to focus on the tilting of the pelvis. So my knees are pretty wide here. Choose a width that works for you, depending on how open your hips can get. And then from here, push your butt back as you tilt. This is a tuck. This is a tilt. So again, knees wide, tilt your pelvis. Ankles are obviously going to be separated here in this variation. Tilt. And then once you got the tilt, you're going to go into your arms and try to reach out. Try to flatten out while pushing the butt back. Again, tilting through the hips, not tuck. Tilt. So my knees are pretty wide. If your knees aren't so wide, it looks more like this on you. That's fine. Heck, even if your arms aren't fully stretched, that's also okay. I'm trying to really emphasize the low back right now and the back of the hips with your child's pose. So tilt the pelvis, please, and then push the butt back. If you get enough release to the lower part of the spine as well as the back of those hips, then go for it. Give me that full stretch through the entire kinetic chain by reaching the arms. If you're not there yet, that's okay. It is something to work for. This is just as effective if this is where you're at, because this is where you're at, so it's effective. Don't feel bad if you can't get into a full child's pose. Not that big a deal. Let's go through one more quick round here. We'll go about 30 seconds on each side. Let's bring the the right side across. Take your right arm, reach it out, turn your head to the right. We're just going to go about 30 seconds here. Pull the abs way in. Just slow your breathing down. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. 6 count is perfectly fine. Let's do the other side. Again, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth at about a 6 count. A couple slow breaths here. Just settle into the muscles. Just release the back of your hip on that left side. Release the front of your left shoulder, chest. Just relax. It's fine. You're fine. Just let it go. And then a quick child's pose. We will finish with this today. We're making good time today. Actually about exactly 60 minutes. So right here. Tilt your pelvis and then work yourself up the spine, into the arms. Eventually. If you're not there yet, that's fine. You're going to separate your knees wherever they need to be, tilt your pelvis, and then flatten yourself to the floor. If you're not there, that's fine. Bring your knees in. Just push your hips back and slowly start to reach, focusing on the tilting of the pelvis. Tilting of the pelvis, not tucking. Tilting. And we'll call that a day. So thanks again for joining me today, folks. We'll see you Saturday. And stay tuned. I am kind of ruminating over how to get a park workout of some sort together. So maybe the next 2 weeks or so, we'll figure that out. Anyway, thanks again for joining me, and we'll see you next time.